I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready.
No, I was really looking at recently with Joe that mortgage.
Mhm.
It's only like a 40. It's like you can get that certification over if you go around. Not like what Joe Jones, a manager type thing.
Right.
I'm talking about just
Can you move in a little, turn the chair around? So that you can move down a little bit if you want to, but you still got space.
Do I need to move or stay?
no, you're good.
Yeah, you're fine.
You good?
Right.
All right. I see you.
All right.
Can you sit up some more?
No, you're fine.
That's okay.
All right, you good.
But is that big? You can part-time break.
We good. We good. Right?
Yeah.
To be a lender?
Certification.
You can put that to
Loan.
Yes. Yes. I need H2. I was sitting in the middle of class and had to sprint out. Welcome back. Welcome back. Today is Wednesday, January 22nd, and you are listening to the Milspo Show on Sedor Radio, the station that's more than just music. And if you haven't already, feel free to download the free Sedor app. Today we have with us Sharonda Bay, who is a NC realtor, particularly our realtor that we use recently. So we're not trying to tell people to purchase a home with you and we didn't do so ourselves. It's not like, oh, yeah, she's a great realtor, but I wouldn't use her. Right. Like, we rely on her even after purchasing the home. I believe I called you a couple times. Yes. Some questions and some things that we still desire to do, or purchasing homes and stuff like that. But you made our process really, really painful. So thank you for that. Pain free. Sorry, pain free.
I'm like, oh my
Painless.
goodness.
Because I know I can be particular, and like I had my mind dead set on a certain area, and in this area, I know that homes come and go very quickly. Also, the price can be crazy in the area, so you made it happen for me because I just was like, look, this where I wouldn't be, so I don't know what we're gonna do.
Well, it's all a matter of timing, research, and patience. And I'm so happy that you invited me.
Yes, because here's the thing: there are so many people that desire to purchase a home but don't even know where to get started.
The first thing I always have my clients do,
Right.
my first question is, do you know what your credit score is? Because you cannot purchase a house or even truly begin to look until you know what your buying power is.
Right.
So it's very easy to go to like creditkarma.com to
Right.
see where your scores are sitting. Every loan, excuse me, has a different credit score,
Right.
and your debt to income ratio also plays a factor when you purchase a house.
So you're saying every loan has a different credit score. When you speak in loan, are you talking like FHA versus
Conventional versus VA.
Oh.
So every type of loan, whether it's like a federal loan or a conventional loan,
right?
There's variance to where your credit score can be. So as you know, in our market, we deal with a lot of VA loans.
Right.
So your credit score to be in the good is a 620.
Okay.
You can have a 580, but there's stipulations behind it.
Right.
So that is also when I say when you start getting into like the real details of what the requirements are, is when you need to speak with the lender.
Okay.
So I have preferred lenders that I work with.
Okay.
But every consumer, just like you have a choice for what realtor you choose to use, you also have the choice for what lender you use.
What would you say would be like one of the top things to look for in a realtor? Because for me, it was I needed to trust.
Well, it's just like with trust is a huge factor because this is my profession. I am a full-time agent.
Right.
I don't ever want to say someone who's been in the business for 3 years versus someone who's been in the business for 15,
Right.
that one is better than the other. Communication is key. So if you feel like you're not making that connection and that agent is not hearing what you're saying, then that's not the agent for you.
Y'all hear that? Y'all getting some good information today on the Sador radio station, but the Milspo show. I didn't even introduce myself today. I am
None of us.
Celia. I introduced Miss Sharonda Bay because I'm so excited, like, to have her here because for me buying a home is a very big thing,
It is.
especially in our community. And then I have the other side, the military side, where you have a lot of soldiers who serve, but they can't even buy a home. So
If I had learned what I know now 20 plus years ago,
right.
when I was a military spouse, but that's another story.
We
I
come back and
feel-
share that story.
Yes,
too.
another time.
Yes.
I feel that, especially like in our community,
Right.
the education is not there. Because if I had known, we would have bought a house a long time ago because your housing allowance can pay your mortgage.
Yeah.
So when you stop and think, every time you go somewhere and you're there for 5+ years,
Right.
you're paying someone else's mortgage
Right.
versus building your own equity in something that belongs to you and building your own wealth.
That part.
Which is very vital,
It
especially
is.
today. Especially today, because I believe, and I just look around. There's new ways of technology coming around. There's new ways of money, rather you buying stocks and bonds, things like that. It's all new, different ways of making money. But one invention that's not going to never change is land. You know,
Exactly.
land here is here
Mhm.
today. It's going to be here after us. It was here
Mhm.
before us. So I think it's always important to invest in land, especially like I said, if you're going to pay something monthly, let it work in your behalf.
Exactly.
Mortgage versus rent.
Right.
So you should also be honest with yourself in terms of how much responsibility and how you want your investment portfolio to look like.
Okay.
You know, some people, uh, like I've ran into several military folks, they have more than one property based off of their duty stations. So their first duty station, their first house may have been $150,000 house because of where they were at financially. They may have then held onto that property as a investment and use it as a rental when they PCS to their next duty station, and then they buy like their next upsize house.
Right.
Um,
King
people,
Williams plan. Not
Mhm.
PCSing, but our plan.
right.
That's right.
So, and even if you don't decide to keep like your first property as a rental, but yet you sell it, and as long as you're making a nice profit off of it, then you just increase your buying power for your next house.
Right.
It was a master sergeant that I used to work with, white gentleman. I can't think of his name, but that's what he told me. He was stationed here. I think he did 26 years total.
Hmm.
He had 8 rental properties just in this area alone. And he said he bought when he was a private, and he said every other rank he would try to position himself to buy him a home. When he was a private, he bought a home for his family.
Hmm.
And as his family, as he got to E4, he bought another one. You
Right.
know what I mean? And then when he went from E4 to E6, he bought more. You know what I mean? And then
Mhm.
even as he PCS, you know what I mean? If he were PCS, he said he would never rent. He would always just. But
Mhm.
but what did he do on the other side? Because yeah, you get paid pretty good as a soldier, but you don't get paid that good.
Exactly.
So instead of purchasing vehicles, he's always bought cash cars
Hmm.
so that he would never have, when he pulled his credit up, the only thing that's leaving him is the debt that he would have to owe or pay his
On
mortgages.
mortgage.
Right.
Mhm.
So that's why he was always able to purchase wherever he went, even when he PCS, because he would just purchase homes and not purchase nothing else. He would barely get credit cards. He keeps his credit cards real low. Never bought vehicles. Never
Mhm.
got jewelry counts. All he would have, but across his credit, all he had when he gave me the game was all I had. If you look at my credit right now, that's what he would say.
He has assets.
just assets. It's just
Mhm.
more. It's mortgages. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like you said, if he started at a house that's 100,000 and he's had it for 8 years and he's been paying on it maybe one or two payments at a time, now he's well over what the house is worth compared to what he
Right.
owes.
Right. Absolutely.
Well, what if you can't start at $100,000 home? Like, even if you're a private, what if you wanted to start, say, for instance, 40 or $50,000 buying a property? What advice would you give someone? And would that be a good idea?
Um, I think a lot of it has to do with your area. Our, 40, 50,000, if that can buy you like a townhome
Right,
or a condo,
right,
and if your intentions are to buy it just to hold as an investment,
right,
make sure you do all your research because you don't want to end up, say, if you have a HOA situation. I know there's some particular condos in Fayetteville that are extremely inexpensive, but they have a very high HOA. So if they have, so you have to, like, you really have to do your homework. You need to know like what you want on your return of interest.
right,
So there's a lot of studying that you need to know that what fits for you and what you want your portfolio to look like. So I wouldn't say no, don't invest, but just know the area
right,
because resale in our market for condos and townhouses is a struggle. Unlike it would be like in a major metropolitan city like, Denver, New York, or whatever.
right.
You're not getting nothing for 50 in New York, but I'm just
I know what you're saying.
not
But
understand.
because that's one of the reasons I looked at why we purchased this one. You know what I mean? Not necessarily. I wasn't getting it for resale, but I was getting it for when we do move.
Hmm.
This can turn into a cash flowing
Absolutely.
asset
Hmm.
that can just strengthen our portfolio.
Yes.
That's one of these. I mean, it's nice and it's doable right now for my family. With my
Mhm.
daughter growing, my grandson growing, and my wife transition still going to school because it kept the money that has to go that we have to pay for it kept it low at the
Mhm.
same time. It stays low even if because I can rent this out for easy another 300, 400 more dollars than
Right.
what I'm purchasing it right
Mhm.
now.
Right,
So with that being said, that'll be great cash flow
It is.
for the future.
And then, you know, if you're hanging on to something and you're planning to, you know, these are all these shoulda, woulda, couldas. Like I said, if I had known what I knew
right,
now, like in my mid 20s to maybe even my early 30s, I could have stuff paid off, and that's just straight clear income
right,
that sets you up for retirement.
right.
Hmm.
Wow, just imagine had we purchased a property, and back then I think we were looking, we thought it was a lot to pay $60,000 for a home. Remember when you were like private first class? I think it was over there, Montclair area. I don't.
Hmm.
Was it?
Mhm.
I don't even know if people want to move there now, but this is how long ago it was. But just imagine
Montclair's a good
if
area.
you had that property where it is in Fayetteville,
Yes.
a good rental property,
Hmm.
that could be for us, and definitely an asset. So I would say anybody in the Fayetteville area, North Carolina area, if you are looking for a home, contact Miss Day.
Yes, please
If
do.
you have any questions about buying a home, contact Miss Day, no matter uh, what your thinking is. Because for me, I didn't know where to start. My husband just was like, hey, we're about to move. We're going to buy a house. And I was like, okay, I'm going to call Miss Sharonda. And of course, I'm talking to you. And I'm like, I don't know. I
Well,
don't know.
I'll use that same example with the home that I live in now. When my ex-husband drove us over there, I was like, we can't afford to live over here.
Right,
And I think that's something when you have those limiting beliefs,
right,
you need to look beyond. And surprisingly, we could afford to live there. We've been there
right.
for 16 years.
Right.
Mhm.
See, like, and you won't know until you ask the question, you get the information. And even if you are not ready when you ask, I'm sure you, like you said, you'll tell them what to do with steps or point them in the right direction to get ready. You already mentioned credit
Hmm.
and the different type of loans that are available. But what are some of the other things like your company, if not you, offer? Especially we're in a military town. You see, we had what 3,500 soldiers that deployed,
Hmm.
and I'm not sure that it's my mindset that they weren't prepared for this deployment. So if they needed some help with their property, like potentially renting it out or whatever,
Yes, I do have resources. I do not do property management.
right?
That's not my lane. It's a very stressful
Right.
situation. And, I feel some kind of way having to deal with other people's money. So if it's like you have a seller that has tenants and the tenants aren't paying the rent, but the mortgage still needs to be paid, that's too much for me. But in the event, if someone reached out, I do have resources that I could, refer them to help them rent their properties out and help make sure they're maintained while they're deployed
And that's
or
why
if
I
they
said
PCS.
people, because I know she got resources. Like, what you need? Oh, your home won't be ready. Like, we won't be ready to close. Girl,
You
don't
got a
even
question?
stress because if you
Yes.
need a place to stay, I got you. And I was like,
Yes.
what?
And
Like,
what
you're
I
going to do all that?
Yes, well, there's also there was a point in time in Fayetteville where short-term rentals were very difficult to find,
Right,
and now we're starting to have a bit of growth with Airbnbs and places that are willing to do short-term rentals.
right.
Because I mean, whether if you're, I have a client now, they they were buying their final dream home, so the husband wanted to get the current home on the market. And I said, okay, well, if you get a contract in 30 days, because they had to wait like 8 months for their home, they found a short-term rental. Actually, we listed the house and they got a contract in 3 days. And he was like, Sharada, you said 30 days. I was like, well, hey, I gave you the warning.
Right.
But they rolled with it. It was a smooth transaction. You just never know every scenario is different.
Yeah.
So when you start thinking, well, I'm not ready to do this, that, or the other, speak to a professional. They may have suggestions that you weren't aware of and possibilities to help them out, to help
So,
you out.
so with the Airbnb and other situations like that, it tends to make it easier for you, or not even easier for you, but even a little more successful because now you're the subject matter expert and having assets and information to things like that does
Right.
make the job easier.
It does. And people, I mean, because no one likes the physicalness of actually moving, but then you don't want to feel like you're going to be homeless. Like no one wants to move out, wait 3 months, and then, where are we going to go? So,
The
you know.
hotel, because at one
There
time
is
they
a
had if somebody
level
was
of
doing, they would have to
stress.
pay a hotel
Yes, and
and
that's
stay in a hotel.
expensive.
Yeah,
And
very expensive.
so
Yeah,
now at least with
if they don't
Airbnbs and
change.
short terms, you have a full kitchen. Like you can live life at a reasonable
Mhm.
amount of money versus living out of a
And
suitcase.
now give us a little bit of your background, Ms. Bay. We went right into the questions and
Oh,
everything and the information, but what made you want to go into real estate? How'd you do it? How many years you been in it? Give us a little bit of spiel about yourself.
well, I have been in real estate for 15 years. And at the time, my daughter she was in pre-K. And one of the other moms was a real estate agent. And she told me you should sell real estate. And I had kind of put it off because at the time, their father was in SF, so he was gone all the time. And you know that we're always
Right.
put ourselves in the back burner to keep the home front down.
Okay.
And
Thank
to be
God for
honest with
black women.
you, I was about to get divorced and I said, I need a career. I need something to where I can afford to maintain the lifestyle I'm accustomed to living. And it's not like I live grand, but I knew, especially in Fayetteville at that time,
Right.
decent salaries. I wasn't trying to work 3 jobs and have 2 small kids and not have any family, like to help with my children when they were young.
Yes.
So I decided to get into real estate and I wouldn't change it for the world. It was kind of funny thing is, it was like that divorce, that was that kick. Go do it. You can do it.
But I tend to think that middle schools are like wives with capes on.
Hmm.
Like we tackle so many other hidden issues
Yeah.
that you don't think about, or you
It's very true.
probably wouldn't even guess that this wife is enduring it. We had spoke about on a previous show. One wife made a little brief comment saying that she felt like she was a single parent because her
Oh,
husband had immediately, got deployed short notice. She had a brand new baby. I'm sure, the hormones. And people were pretty much attacking her just because of the words that she chose to use to express um, how she was feeling in a way I could relate. No, I didn't say, hey, I feel single, but it was like, this is frustrating because I am in a relationship, but I have to also handle this as a single person because my partner is over there and there's nothing we can do about it.
well, I find that kind of surprising. That's the reaction you got from other
Well,
wives
I didn't
because,
say it, but they were
well,
going in. I mean,
mhm.
like, oh, you signed up for that. That's his job. And how dare you say that you are single? I'm like, she says she feels like she says so many other great things about, she's proud of him. That's what he signed up for. But they took that one thing and went in on that woman. And I'm like, wow.
Well, I'm sorry I missed that show because I I can relate. I
Right.
mean, I had one kid that was hell on wheels and another one that did what they were supposed to do. And you'd be surprised if you probably try to think which one it is.
Oh, they
But
switch. They
yeah,
go
they
back and
they,
forth.
they have phases.
Hmm.
But when you're not surrounded by people you trust so that you can either get your mental, your own self-worth
Right.
and care for yourself, when
Right.
you have to be mom, taxi, you got two kids that might be in two different age groups that are very involved with sports, music, cheerleading.
Yes.
Yeah, that's enough to drive any
Anyone
person
insane.
And your
insane.
chef as well every
And then
day
when he
Yes.
with
calls,
security, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
First one to wake up, last one to go to sleep.
Exactly. You still prep, there's
and you
homework
don't
and
want to
prepping.
be that person when you're communicating with him, like, oh, I'm so overwhelmed. So you put on that,
Everything is great.
great, how are
Even
you?
though the dryer's broken, the AC went out in the Jetta, and the truck's battery is dead. And yes, and it always never failed. The minute they deploy it is when everything
Everything goes
breaks down.
haywire.
Yes.
And you just want to scream to the top of your lungs, but then, you talk to your spouse or your soldier and you're like, oh, everything's great. Then you want to get off the phone, but your family can't do anything because
Because
you're not from
where you're at.
here
Exactly.
and they're wherever you're
Hmm.
from, so they can't help. And it's
Right.
just like, oh, well, there's no need to complain to them because what are they going to do, really?
Yes.
Uh,
I really hope young spouses, because it is great to support your military spouse and their careers, but don't ever leave yourself with nothing for yourself,
that part.
Mm.
you know?
Because it creates a problem and an issue and you lose yourself
You do.
and you tend to want your spouse to make you feel valued because all of your energy is going into that family
Right.
instead of you're valuing your work when you have your own thing going on
Hmm.
as
Hmm.
well. Now, it's hard. I can say when you're in that situation,
Right.
you move somewhere else. Now you're taking on a new career. You're a
Hmm.
realtor, and at this point in time, your marriage is breaking up, which is another thing within the military. It's hard.
It is.
They say 50% of marriages fail, but the total in military marriages, I believe, is 70%. I did research on a paper maybe about 4 years ago, and back then it was about 70% for military marriages that did not survive.
Hmm.
So I commend you. You like didn't even skip a beat. I'm sure as a woman you were like, oh, I'm gonna be fine. My children are gonna
Oh,
be fine.
no,
I
it,
got it.
I'll be straight up. I went through a true depression. Like, I was married for 20 years.
Right.
I supported my ex-husband's career, so therefore I did nothing for myself.
Right.
Then all of a sudden I'm here with no education, no career. He's moving on his way, which is not staying where we're at. Like, I came here, I followed you here.
For you. I'm here for
Yes.
you.
And I really did. I went through a very serious depression to where it laid me out. Like, I had to have my mother-in-law of all people. She had to come help take care,
Wow.
not only me but also the kids,
Right.
because it was also a physical depression. Like, I
Right.
could not get up, I could not eat, I couldn't sit and look at my kids to eat
Right.
a meal with them without feeling like I was going to break out in tears. I
Right.
couldn't go grocery shop. So it was an awakening. It was a process. And through all of that, I gave that education to my kids. I'm not big on like serious relationships. I'm like, look, who you think is hot and your soulmate at 20 and not gonna be the same when you hit 30.
Unless
So
you're in our situation, because in that process, it was phases. Now we're
yeah,
gonna keep it 100. In them phases, sometimes it was like, oh, this joker is driving me crazy.
Because I was
exactly.
a nut. I'm gonna tell you, to be real.
See,
I
and
was
I hate
crazy. I was a nut. Sometimes, I thought that grass was green on the other side. Then you get over there to that grass.
It's all burnt up.
It's all burnt underneath. You know what I mean? The grass be green, but when you get underneath the soil, you be like, oh no, soil and grubs and poop and feces and everything else is bad for you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you believe in a lot of things that grass is green on the other side. But at the same time, you lose a lot of things that very invaluable. Possessions you can have and take on tomorrow, but I lost peace.
Right.
I lost true love. You know what I mean? I lost trust. You know what I mean? So those things that you can't buy with money,
You have to earn them.
You have to earn them back.
You have to earn them. So I just, and I'm not anti-relationships at all, and I don't feel that people that meet in their 20s can't be married for life. I was just telling my children, you have to do you. You have to live life, experience life, so that way you don't feel like you have any regrets once you do settle down.
I really would love to have you on here again. Like, maybe we can talk, even maybe a Milspo after dark, where we get to talk openly and candidly.
I love it.
With
Ooh,
some
we can
of
have
our-
like real wine.
Yes, yes, real wine.
This is lemonade. Still work hours.
Right, real wine. Because one of the things that I'm big on telling my daughter is you have to live your life. Don't ever put a mirror up to me and your father's relationship and think, oh well, I'm a particular age, should I be settling down, should I be with that person, because your journey is different from ours.
Exactly.
And I don't, as a woman, what I know today, I'm like you, I love my husband, but if I had that information back then that I have now, I think it would be so much more of me to love and admire if I had that information back then, because I would have been more confident,
Yes.
being a woman and understanding, hey, it may get hard, but I can also go after my dreams as well as hold him down.
Yes.
And not feel so frantic. And I still have those moments now. He'll tell you, I'll be like, the moment that I feel like, oh, my family is slipping or to the back burner, I will drop everything because this is where you guys come from me. But at the same time, if I didn't start to pursue the things that I felt, deep down in here, I think I would have been crazy. Uh, Not to say I'm not crazy now, but
well, I think too, and then sometimes we feel like we contradict ourselves,
right?
Because you know what, I probably needed that journey. No, I did need that journey. I needed that awakening of what my relationship with my ex-husband what it really wasn't.
Right.
And now I preach to my kids, you need to know what your worth is. So if you are with someone, I tell my son and my daughter the same thing.
Right.
You can be abused verbally, mentally, emotionally, whether you're a man or you're a woman.
Definitely.
But if you know what your worth and what your value is and you're strong in that, you'll know, okay, well, I don't need to spend no more time with this particular person. It's time for me to move on.
Definitely.
And just learn what you can from it.
Yeah, and thanks for lending me one of your babies, your son. Because we have conversations from time to time as well. And you're
Oh, well,
doing
your mama, yeah.
a great, great job.
Well,
you know, sometimes it's just, you can tell when they get that look in their eye, like, have you been talking to my mom? No, I haven't been talking to your mom, but I am grown just like your mom. And we see something different. You know,
Well,
we have a different outlook at certain things. So
in my house, my kids know the phrase of their village parents. So during that time of, when I was starting my career, people think, oh, they're teenagers, they don't need to babies. I'm like, no, that's when you need, I think, even more monitoring. So, I mean, they got village parents all over the neighborhood.
Right.
I get phone calls, and my son would be like, well, how did you know? I'm like, look, just because you don't see me, don't mean I don't see you.
Right. Right.
I got 8 eyes.
Yes.
So I got
they
8
know.
ears.
The funny thing is, they know who their village families are.
Right.
I don't want to call names out,
Right.
They know. They know who the village crew is.
It's like, oh, if this person sees me, I am done. It's as good as my mom seeing me if this person sees me. Because, well, for one thing, I am that parent that I don't care about embarrassing my children. So I don't care about embarrassing someone else's child at all. Like, I will scream out the car window, are you supposed to be here? Do your mama know you here? Let me pull over. Don't leave. Hold on. I am that person that will embarrass, because I, by all means, if you see my child out of place or out of bounds, embarrass them.
Well,
So they will be like, oh, this was a bad idea. Which Shalea was the one that always, bad idea. My son pretty much, I'd rather ask for forgiveness than permission. So I'm gonna go for it, Mom. Too bad. But
ladies, we're gonna take a quick break.
Okay.
We're gonna take
and
a quick
then come
break,
back
and
with,
we're gonna come back with some,
because
few more limited
time with Miss Bay.
time limit. So we're gonna ask a few more real estate questions,
Awesome.
and then we're gonna get you out of here. But we're gonna take a break right now.
All right. This is we do start getting girlfriend talk. I'm
right.
About that. She's gonna be in Columbia, South Carolina, in March.
March.
Better.
That's Jill, right?
Yeah.
March,
my woman.
Look, March.
I got my ticket. Yeah.
Like Jill Scott
It's on
is a grown-up show.
I love her.
What? Jilly from Philly.
But she's so amazing.
Introduce yourself. Just do the thing like you do normally in the beginning.
Okay.
And then
So you want to get to prepping?
Yeah, and we're
in the first stages.
Your information as well. Make sure they know your information, your contact information. We'll also put a link up. If you have a card or something that you want us to put up, we'll put it and attach it to the Milspo show. So that way, anybody looking for a home or anything, they can contact you.
It's easier. I'll give you my Facebook business page because my website. Yes, Bay Realty Group on Facebook. My direct number is 918-850-4566. And they can email me at SharondaBay@yahoo.com. I would give you my website is down right now, so changing systems. So let's talk about people. go into using your VA loan and some misconceptions people have about using it.
So y'all already discussed people that don't have certain credit scores, like what the preparation they need to take before they can even
Yeah,
like
she
if they're
said
trying
the
to
first
purchase a home.
thing that you should do is check your credit score so you can know your buying power. So that I know definitely you want need to know that.
No, not that. I heard that. I'm saying far as like they like a person that's interested in personal home, but they already know their credit score is jacked.
Okay.
The steps that they need to take to get right.
Okay.
So
Like
then,
credit
your part, they
restoration.
need to get their credit together before they can go into what they need to be doing.
That's a good point because there are things that people have misconceptions about.
Right.
I just need to know how I can buy me $1 million home for about five. Other than getting a
Or you got $1 million home?
Do I personally live in one?
Well, it's probably not.
Sure, it's doable. But I'm at
Because
the
I
stage
know
of
if I'm
life.
a real estate agent. I know how to do that. I'm be the first person to do it, but you got to.
But I don't need $1 million house. I'm at the stage, I just want comfort for my family when they come, and I want to travel. That's what I want to travel. I don't want to be in my house.
Yeah, that's gone.
That's right. But they're keen, their next trip. They're trying to get a trip to Paris, and Joelle is not letting go. She's going on. And it's been great. First of
Welcome back to the Milspo show. And we are back with Miss Sharonda Bay, NC Realtor. Give them some more background information, where what company you work for. We have your contact information. Like we have her Facebook page, which is Bay Realty Group. Y'all can look her up on Facebook. We also have her number, contact information, 910-850-4566. And or you can email her at sharondabay@yahoo.com with any questions that we don't answer on this segment. But take it away, give them some information, where you're based out of, what company.
Okay. I am working with Keller Williams Realty. I've been with them probably going on 13 years or so. I am a full-time agent and I service the Fayetteville, which includes Rayford. So I'll just go by counties, Cumberland, Hoke, Harnett, and the surrounding areas.
Right.
Back when you were asking, how to choose your realtor, I am licensed in the entire state of North Carolina, but consumers need to know every market is different.
Right.
So in Fayetteville, when a buyer purchases a home, the seller is willing most times to contribute to the buyer's closing costs.
Right.
But you can go an hour to Southern Pines and it's a completely different market where the sellers do not contribute to your closing cost. I feel that
They are so cheap in Southern Pines. Y'all got money.
that's how they keep it. So, if you live in Raleigh and you call me, I don't live there, so I'm not the best fit to help you find what you want in Raleigh. However, I do have agents that I network with that could take very good care of you. And it doesn't matter if it's North Carolina, Texas, wherever you are. If you need help finding an agent, I can also help you with that.
Wow. Let's see, I didn't even know that. I just figured if you were in North Carolina, but she's worldwide. So if you need
That's right.
help buying a home anywhere, you can reach out to her and she can, help you and pinpoint you in the right direction and put you with someone that is trustworthy.
Absolutely.
Now, Ms. Bay, you talked early in the show about, some of the stipulations that they should be looking for, but someone who doesn't have the right credit score now, they don't have, what they need to move forward. What steps should they take to prepare themselves to buy a home?
I think consumers, like if you're really serious about buying a home, you'll make the sacrifices. If that means you cut back on eating out so many times a month to where you're saving money, if you have all these subscriptions, Netflix, Hulu, all of that, when
Ooh,
you
child,
really
yeah.
write down, when you write things down and it's such a visual and you start seeing like where your money is going and you're like, okay, well, we can cut out this and that will pay an extra on this bill. Uh, and people sometimes feel they have to pay everything off, like they can't have any kind of debt to buy a house.
Right.
So even if your credit is challenged, another thing that I'm not a fan of are like consolidation loans. It all seems like a relief if you just bundle everything into one loan and you pay it, but sometimes that hurts you more than it
Right.
helps you.
Right.
Because I did this. I did this right around the time I was getting divorced. I figured let me consolidate everything. But once you pay half that consolidation off, and let's say you're paying $1,000 for the initial, but you owe half, you know, they're not going to work with you to then lower that monthly payment. So my strong advice, once you sit and look at all your numbers and where you're at, things you can cut back, speak to a trusted lender because they are going to tell you what the underwriters want to see.
Right.
So sometimes people feel that, okay, I got to pay off every single credit card. Well, no, they still want to see you have credit and that you're paying it on time.
Right.
So the lender may tell you, yes, I need you to pay this particular credit card off, but I need you to keep this credit card, but keep a balance of like 200 that you keep paying every
Right.
month on time.
Right.
So a lender is very key to helping you not only knowing what your buying power is, but if you're not ready to buy, a good lender will help guide you and tell you what it is you need to do so that you are ready. And just today, Joe called me, a particular client. I've been talking to him for over a year and a half, and now he's ready to buy. And he's so excited because I called him on the way here. It's like,
Right.
hey, we got your pre-approval. He's like, what? What? So
Right.
it's all a matter of whether it takes you 6 months, a year, and then sometimes people also think, I just can't make it happen. I just owe so much money. But sometimes you're in a better position than what you actually think until you speak to a professional for them to tell you yes or no,
Right.
or this is what you need to do.
So it sounds like they want to see you practicing credit. They want to see you practicing monthly payments because
Exactly.
that's what you want to pitch. You want to show a picture that you want to show the lender that you practice and you are good at making monthly payments because we most of the time people who use credit are because they're gonna get a loan. So
Right. Well, they want, I mean, buying a house is one of the biggest investments a person will make in their lifetime. So, to give you money to buy a house, they want to make sure you're not going to foreclose on this loan within 3 months, 6 months, a year, or whatever the case may be. So, they want to see that you're responsible. That's just the bottom line. So, that means while you're waiting to get ready to buy a house, don't open any new lines of credit. Don't be late on any of your payments. Don't be late on your rent. Don't be late on your car note. You need to show them that you are financially responsible for them to lend you their money to make a purchase like that.
what about I know probably sometimes you get clients who are they've always been cash. You know, that's what their family taught them. You know, I had
Hmm.
my dad was that. My dad was, you know, he's changed, but my dad was really cash driven. Everything cash, paid for cash
Right.
savings. You know what I mean? For them people who are still like that, what would be your advice would be to them? You know what I mean? How do they slowly get into the credit game, or not credit
Okay.
game, but to start showing that they're credit worthy?
Well, so you're saying like
They
if
got
they
cash, they
have
got
they have
money in
cash, they
savings,
got savings,
but they ain't got
but
they
they
don't got
don't
a
but they
payment
don't
on
have a
nothing.
car note.
Mm.
So the lender may say, "Hey, I want you to go open up a credit card. It can be a prepaid card to where you're just making the monthly payments." That's where the lender's going to tell you what. And that's it kind of like contradicts you have no debt, but then you don't have a credit score, you know?
Right.
So you have to have something.
Right.
And so sometimes a lender will say, hey, open up, it may say Best Buy, you just open up something to where you're making monthly payments on it for X amount of time. So that way you could
I'm sorry. You
develop a
said
credit
you
score.
have to have something, and then my mind popped Eddie Murphy. Nothing from nothing means nothing. You gotta have something if you want to
But
be with me.
I understand because uh, you have to show credit. Now we always say you don't want to have debt, but see, you got to have some form of that relationship in order
You
to,
do.
get homes and things like that. Give you an example is
Hmm.
I got a cousin of mine who he's had a credit card in the 80s. He still has that same
Hmm.
credit card. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So now when he needs a $50,000 to get dropped on that credit card. You know what I mean? It's a
Right.
push of a button for him to where some people else are being told that no, you don't want to do that. You don't want to get caught into, what I mean. So I just think it's a balance game that you got to really play there. You know what I mean?
It is a balance. Really, it's like people have to learn how to respect their money
Right.
and respect your credit. Like, I just through my years and experience, I don't have department store cards, and they're always, well, do you want to open for it extra? Like, no, I'm paying cash for it. I've just gotten to, especially after the consolidation,
Right.
because at that point, I didn't have any credit because everything, and this was during my divorce, it had to be
Right.
consolidated.
Right.
So when I rebuilt my credit, I am the type, if I'm going on vacation, my vacation is basically paid for
Right.
before I leave, and then I have my play money. And
Right.
the only time like my credit card is used, like if I have to rent a car, but I try to, because who wants to go on vacation and then come home and feel guilty because you spent bill money? That's not vacation. So it's respecting your money, what you do with it, how you save it, and how you choose to spend it.
Right.
So
What would you recommend because I see now a lot of women wanting to get into real estate. Um, Maybe not individually, but small groups of women coming together.
as
With
far as,
creating like a group to purchase real estate.
oh, you mean as
Investors.
investors?
Right.
Hmm.
Is that can that be lucrative?
I mean, I'm sure it can if you see, here's the real estate is not, it's not easy, and it's not easy money. So
Right.
if you have a group of women that want to be investors, then there has to be that conversation that's all going to have to be legalized
Right.
and a clear understanding.
Right.
Who's contributing X amount? Um, does everyone have the equal amount of money
Right.
for an investment property? Is it cash? Is it what's considered hard money? There's just many factors that go into it. Then it's what type of investments do you want? There's some investors that are only interested in multifamily units
Right.
because usually one unit will pay the mortgage for the entire, say it's a duplex or a fourplex. Or some people want to invest around colleges, like smaller homes. So it's just a whole lot of research, what it is you really want to do, and who you're going to be in business with.
Then you see what I mean by I'll give her a random question at any given time and she'll just answer it for me. Off the top of my head, because of course, I've seen a lot of women coming together with these groups, but I had questions like, wonder how that works,
Hmm.
with who puts in what, how does this go? Because in my mind, for me, I would want to be a silent.
And you can be a silent partner. And it's funny you say that because, mine is interested in a particular business. I was like, well, I'll be a silent partner, but we don't have to talk about what that means, especially if you get some of my money
Right.
and what I'm going to get in return. So it's just all figuring out like what works for you
Right.
and how you want to approach it and is your return going to be just as equal being a silent partner versus the partners that are doing the work or who may have more
Right.
income up front, you know.
I think it can be done. Women group are emerging, but I think they play their role. Like you have the one woman who know how to get everybody together. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And then you have the woman who knows she knows banks, she knows credit, she knows finance sides, she has the relationship established with hard money lenders, private lenders. You know what I mean? And then you have the woman who have women wearing boots and hard hats now. I'm you know what I
Well,
mean.
that's true.
So
Mhm.
they can be on the project management side. They can be at day to day making sure that uh, the tangible physical work is being done from
Right.
demolition all the way to building to what I mean. So I like to piggyback on what you said. I believe if the group can come together, but the group, everybody should pick their specialized path and then work together as a team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Dennis Rodman did all the rebounding for Chicago. You know what I mean? Michael Jordan did all the scoring. You know what I mean? Then
Right.
Scottie Pippen did all the rebounding and holding the best player on the outside. So I think what I mean. So with women coming together, if they do that. You know what I mean?
Well, I believe that women coming together, amazing things can happen. Period.
Absolutely, I believe
Absolutely.
that too.
I
I
just
Absolutely.
believe
think
that
that
too.
we're so awesome. We just tend to get in our own way. But back to the VA loan, the misconceptions about using the VA loan.
A huge misconception about VA loans are people feel like they don't have to have any money, because a VA loan is it's a government funded loan
Right.
with 100% financing, which means the consumer does not have to bring money like a down payment to the table.
Right.
But what they don't understand, you still need money to buy a house.
Right.
Because when you find the property you want to write an offer on, you have in our market, which is called due diligence money and earnest money. And that's money that is good faith to the seller for them
Right.
taking their home off the market while the buyer is in the process of buying it. And the rule of thumb is 1% of the asking price of the home, but always keep in mind that can be negotiated. And this is another area where trust is important, because I have one particular prospect right now, and she says she's like paycheck to paycheck, and I'm like, but we can figure this out. Like, your taxes are coming.
Right.
She doesn't have any debt, but like she's afraid to get pre-approved. I
Right.
said, until we know your buying power and where you're at, like we can't do nothing.
Don't need to
Right.
go riding looking at
So,
homes,
right.
none of that because
Oh, well, no,
we
I
don't
don't
know
do
buying
that.
power. You know what I mean? Just you know what I mean. You can't go nowhere. The buying
Exactly.
power is the the main ingredient.
Hmm.
You know.
So, and this is a society where a lot of people are paycheck to paycheck, unfortunately. But if you communicate with your realtor and be honest and say, hey, I have X amount of dollars and how can I make this work?
Right.
We can figure something out. So you need earnest money, due diligence money. I advise all my buyers, I don't care if it's new construction, to have a home inspection, which can cost, it's based off the square footage of a home. So that can run you anywhere from $300 to $400. You may have options of that being paid at the closing table or tied in with your closing costs from the seller. Things can be worked out, but you just have to communicate where you really are, like
So you can get
financially.
creative in the financing.
Well, it's
A
not
little
the
bit.
it's not the financing. What I'm saying is
Mm.
what a buyer needs to expect. You can't buy a house for nothing. Like, you just can't come and tell me, okay, I'm pre-approved for $200,000, but I have no money saved up in the bank.
Right.
And even if you tell me, okay, I get paid on the 1st and 15th, and I can give X amount of dollars for um, earnest money. I said, so then I can say, okay, well, we can give X amount of dollars on the 1st, and in the contract, we can write that you will give the balance of that earnest money on the 15th.
Right.
So that way they're not feeling like I'm never going to have $1,000 for earnest money. It can be worked out.
Yeah, because it was sounding to me like you probably had the experience. You said what, 15, 16 years? You've been seeing some of everything, probably.
I have, but that's the thing about this. Every transaction is different, and as many years as I've sold, I still come across stuff that I've never done before. And I'll call a colleague. I'm like, hey, I just came across blah blah blah. What do you
Right.
think? How would you handle it? Then we, get it figured out,
That's
make it
good.
work for
That's
the
good.
client. Mhm.
So we're gonna wrap a little bit. We're gonna take a little break here, but before we go, we want you to mention again because I know social media is a big thing now. A lot of people use the social media, so please tell the people your social media handle, how they can get in contact with you. Because we don't want you to be late. Because if you're late,
Yes.
man, we want you to be able to come back for some more shows.
I would love to
okay?
come back for more.
Yes, please. And I think
So-
your
social
baby
media.
boy will be here on Milspo after dark tomorrow.
Who will?
Your son.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. But anyways, you can reach me direct at 910-850-4566. And for my business page, you can reach me on Facebook at Bay Realty Group. And that's
Spell back. Yeah.
BEY,
B-E-Y.
not BAY, BEY, realtygroup.com. And if you have any questions or concerns, you can hit me up through the messenger on Facebook, or you can call, text, email, whatever you need. But I'm here. I love now. I'm seeing a trend of younger people buying houses, and I just get so excited. I'm just, it's like they just have no, like it's clicking. Like, why sit up and pay rent for something that you can own? And one of our another village kids, when he told me what his rent was, and I said, boy, do you know my mortgage is only $200 shy of that? And he's in a 1-bedroom apartment. And so-
and they don't care.
They don't. And that is what people fail to see. You can have so much more for your money, and it's yours. And no one's going to call you and say, oh, your rent is going to go up $200.
I must
You
say
know.
it felt really good to put paint on walls.
Oh, that's why I was like, oh, it looks so good in here.
Yes, we're going to take a quick break because we cannot hold her. She's a busy woman. Thank you again, Sharonda, for coming.
Thank you. I'd love to come back. If your
We
listeners
have to
questions,
have you back, not only for real estate, because I love you as a realtor, but to give us some insight. We believe in empowering and uplifting each other on this show. So with you dropping those pearls on us, we have to have you come back
I'd
and
love to.
empower the young women, the young people. And plus, you have a young man who's a veteran. So
That he is.
we love our veterans on the Milspo show. So thank you again so
Thank
much
you.
for spending time with us today. We're taking a quick break and we'll be right back.
Oh, I just love you. That was so much fun.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you. And I'd love to come back to talk about
Yes. And then whenever you come, hopefully you won't have to leave and we can have real stuff in here.
Yes. So what's my coming for?
Milspo After Dark. We are talking about dating, millennials, the young people, the problems and issues. Shalaya will be on. Who's the Army brat? Ahmad, Army veteran. Then we have Maya, who's supposed to be here. Army brat, but also Army veteran. She's young. And then, hearing them and talking to them about the issues that they have with dating and stuff. And just trying to give them some insight, like Ahmad and I talked about the history.
Oh my God. I told him, I said, I think social media is still dating for your generation because you don't really know about like courting a woman, and then women like with their girls, young girls, their expectation that
Instantly, we're gonna get together, be a power couple instantly.
no, look, my daughter, the boyfriend she had, when she wasn't working, I was like, well, did you make us a dinner? She's like, no. I'm like, well, if your man's out, you home, fix the man something to eat when he gets home so he can eat.
Oh no, I can't do
And
that.
what she was like, what she said.
I'm not his wife.
She's like,
I'm not his
I
wife.
got the hit. Just
But
like
then
that.
when you say, well, if you were in a situation and y'all dating and you needed something, would you be able to go and ask?
And
Oh, I don't want to ask for nothing.
I know.
My daughter good at that. I be like,
Oh my God, I
quick to
can't
ask
wait to
me.
hear
confused. I'm like, I'm confused. Does he ask you
Daddy,
something?
I be like,
And you are black, but you can't ask him when you need help. Like I, if you younger or new.
And I said, well, I don't like my boyfriend anymore. He's not a boyfriend anymore. But I'm like, look, if your man don't hold you down when you're down, then he's not your man. However, if he's trying to hold you down and you can't cook the damn man a meal and you home, yeah, you may be doing homework or whatever, but what does it take?
To get out and make a sandwich.
Just stop.
you just stop.
Do
Like,
something.
look, put it on the plate and make it look cute.
Right.
Put that. I'm gonna play another one.
Thanks again.
Oh, I had so much fun.
I love it.
Thank you. Sorry, I hope you didn't hear that buzzing.
Oh, no, you're fine.
I love Adele too. I'll be ready to see her when she's touring.
I think I'm gonna try and get some tickets.
You do?
Do you know
they were going fast.
You know Raymond Sharp?
Raymond Sharp.
He works over at, I think, Grand Murray. Now, he was supposed to.
I might know him like that.
Yeah, big fella. Black guy, probably about 6'3". Wears a beard. Raymond Sharp.
All right, well, I'm gonna get out of here. It was nice meeting you.
You too.
And then, oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait to hear.
I'll make sure I add you and then tag it to your page as well.
I was going to say Facebook. We're going to be Facebook Live tomorrow night, so you better get it.
Yes, this will be interesting. I guess I'll be babysitting because you guys told me about it.
I think I can make your personal page on the lot.
All right, I'm gonna let myself.
Informative.
You said you was in the class till 11:30?
No, I didn't say it. I had to leave. It was just as soon as we came in, it was so much information that we were getting. And he said that he was like, well, today was some and I was like this. Next thing you know, something said, you was your phone. I said 11:27. I was like, both the girls sitting next to me, the young lady, I had already told him I was text me the notes or whatever. So, yeah. But my phone is scrolling.
We got to find February. Got it. See the last visit we always had some camps. Like, yeah. I think that we can set up an episode.
Maybe I need to do another we're talking around the island.
We're supposed to be rewatching
Oh, okay, yeah.
and we got to see when Baker and Renee can make it.
You said he's not really there, right?
Baker.
What y'all gonna go on tonight? Y'all gonna start talking about y'all house buying experience or what?
Yeah. Keep the house fine.
Talk about these big Doritos over here.
Who said hi? Who said hi?
Shanika.
Hey, Nick.
She's the only person that watches anything.
I like to watch it on YouTube personally too.
That's what I was going to tell y'all. Like, from now on, y'all get off of here. Only don't share a lot. Share this because you want to get views. You want to share this or the thing. So that everybody gets views.
And so we have to do that on YouTube. I'll share it on YouTube.
Yeah, that was
And
Go on to YouTube. Well, you got to get
Yeah.
YouTube account.
I think I do.
I'm sure she has it.
I believe I do. I opened it when we started this.
Then you can share it if you don't get views. Okay.
And I think Mark shared this on YouTube. Like, if you see that in there, say YouTube, and then you share it. So that's what I'm doing. The whole after show. Not the whole.
Little swear words never hurt nobody. Just little swear words to wake you up on a happy hump
Oh, what about that big, bird trail?
Welcome back to the Milspo show. Today is Wednesday, January 22nd, and I am Celia.
I'm Big Ron T.
And we just had the wonderful, beautiful Sharonda May in T.
Our real
Roser.
estate. Our real estate. She's our.
She's our realtor. Just ours, no one else. That's not true. Y'all hit her up if y'all are looking to purchase a home in North Carolina. Well, anywhere in the world. She said she can assist anywhere. You want to buy a home, you got any questions, instant message her or reach out to her on her Facebook page, Bay Realty Group, or email her at sharondabay@yahoo.com. Her contact number is 910-850-4566. Yeah, we had our realtor on that we use, and she made the process easy for us.
Very easy. She made everything plain. You know, my education level is not as high as my wife's, so
cut it out.
She kept her words. She didn't use no $20 words. She was using nice.
Well, your wife
$5
doesn't really
words.
care for the $20 words either. I really don't.
I mean, I know that, but for her to come into the door, you know what I mean, already using $5 words is great.
Yeah.
And it made me think that she was easy to work with.
Right.
And that she's going to do. She was always reachable. You know, she's reachable. Even if she can't talk to you, then she'll message back if she's like
right. And
so that was
letting
important.
You know,
that
like,
was important to me.
When she's not available, giving you a heads up, like just in case. Because a couple times we got to just in case you looking
Right.
for me.
Right.
This is where I'm gonna be, so it might take me a while, but I will get back to you. And a lot of times people aren't that thoughtful and courteous about your time. You know.
That's why I was saying that was very valid for me because you know what I mean. If I wanted to know something, I wanted to know it. You know what I mean. At least by that day. You know what I mean. I didn't want to know.
Well, I'm a lot,
2 weeks.
and I know I'm a lot to deal with, especially with what I want. So I'm thankful that she was patient and understanding. And like I said, I would just have a random question off because we initially started this process. We didn't know what we were going to do, if we were going to get a home built, what we were going to do. We just was like, this is what we're going to do. We know we're going to move,
Right.
and that's it.
We wanted to get out of renting,
right?
Getting into, buying because it's a different benefits now. You know, when you're renting, you're just covering yourself for 30 days. Now the other benefits of renting is, you know what I mean, nothing that you there is yours, so you don't have to pay nothing out of pocket if air go down or refrigerator, whatever. You know what I mean?
Well, no, that's not completely true because towards the end of ours, it was kind of like if anything get broken, we want y'all to fix it.
That's true. That's true. I mean, cool. No, I guess. But I'd rather be buying because you know, what I mean, it just works out. It just builds wealth. That's another form of wealth building.
Yeah, and then like I said, I like the fact that if I decide that I want to change the color in a room, I can, and not necessarily have to just change the color of the furniture in the room.
And not only that, you ain't got to ask nobody.
Oh, that kind of do.
You ain't got to ask no. It's our home.
Yeah, but
I mean, I ain't gonna.
I need to ask.
You ain't gonna pick
how
rainbow.
much is this gonna cost for you to paint it? For you to paint this wall. That's what I need to ask. So.
But it was a very good process. It was a quick process. I asked that, you know what I mean, I was asking Ms. May, can we get it done quick? So it was, you know, from the time we started to the time we signed was a little over a month, just a little over a month, because we knew what we wanted to do
and how we wanted to do it. So yeah, that whole process was like, okay.
She stayed diligent. We stayed diligent.
Yeah, we want to buy a home. This is what it is, and then boom. Yeah. So
step by step.
very appreciative on that aspect. And then another thing, like I said, if anybody's in the military and they are in need of a realtor, please reach out to her because I have a softness in my heart for military families and soldiers and stuff. So I like to send people to good people, no matter where you are. And I know there are people following the Milspo show that are other places in this country. But once again, Miss Bay did tell you guys that she can put you with a realtor in your area, no matter where you are. So don't hesitate to reach out to her on that. But another thing that was very vital was the credit thing, because I know it can be overwhelming
Mhm.
for a lot of people, even thinking, oh, well, how am I going to get my credit to the point where I can buy a home? So,
Well, what I did was uh, I had already started working way ahead earlier that year
mhm.
on strengthening my credit. One is I wanted to have the right type of credit. You know what I mean? Like,
Can you stop moving your arms like this shit?
like I was,
Motion.
I was, I was, you know what I mean? I had the right accounts. Like I had a certain amount of credit cards. I had a car loan, credit, car account. I had lines of credit accounts. So I had different types of accounts. So it kind of shows a little bit of diversity. And then as well, I started making sure that my balances were staying in certain ranges. You know what I mean, that I thought was healthy. You know what I mean, that I've learned from the credit history. So if anything, if you're listening now, and one thing that's going to be important is the healthiness of your balances on all of them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, especially with your revolving credit lines, you want to have them, keep them healthy, keep them where you're not owing more than 50%. 30%, 40% are great numbers. 10% is perfect. But with a card, you can't show that. But you can show that every month, you're paying on time. A lot of people don't know that, paying on time. How do you know if you're late or if you're not? Paying on time is long as you're not going, long as that past due is not went 30 days. From the time they say this is due, you don't want to go 30 days past that day because sometimes you may not have the money to go on that payday right then and there. But you make sure you within a 30-day period from that date get it in, and that helps as well too. So for anybody who may need a little credit tip.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to be cash is king. I just want to be cash for everything. So that's what I work towards. Not saying that that's how it's going to happen,
I mean, what a lot
but
of
that's what
things
I
ain't gonna.
desire.
Yeah, I mean, you can buy things cash, but then it's gonna be kind of hard. Some way somehow it's gonna have to be a swipe.
Oh,
Whether
definitely.
you swipe a credit card, debit card, you gonna have to swipe.
That's so good. Yes, and it's just water in these glasses. A lot of
Just
times,
water that.
a lot of times people be, what's in that glass? Like, what do y'all think we be drinking on this show? What do we be saying to make y'all think that we be drinking? Wrong show. Maybe Milspo after dark.
Definitely.
But not in the daytime. Like
Milspo after dark. When is that?
tomorrow night
Tomorrow. Milspo after dark.
at 9.
Tomorrow night at 9.
Yes,
Definitely tune in.
we got the youngins here.
We're gonna have the youngins talking about their relationship experiences and
Right.
what the
Whether it's some of them are, young parents. Um, and oddly enough, there was a conversation. I don't like to date people with children.
someone said they don't like to date people with children.
Right, but they have a kid.
That person has a child and they said they don't want to date no one that has children.
Right.
You know,
Well, that's the choice they choose. I mean, these days it might be a slimmer pickings, but nonetheless,
I just
that's
want
the
to
choice.
that you have a kid and
From
you're
what it,
like,
you
oh,
know,
I
from
don't
what
want
it
to
looks
date
like.
someone with kids because then I got to worry about my kid and their kid. And I'm like, really? Which I thought it might be a bonus because then you don't have to worry about this person doesn't understand what it's like to raise a child because they have a child. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
Y'all
that's a
can
good
relate
point.
on that level. And there's some understanding as to, what a child requires, the responsibilities and stuff like that. Then when you date someone that does not have a kid, they're like, why do I have to wait for you to get a babysitter?
Yeah, is
Or
that
why is this
now?
and then
It's pros and
so
cons.
That's
yeah,
a very very good point because you have two different philosophies right there,
yeah.
two different mindsets, two different. You know what I mean? Well, you thinking why can't I? I'm showing you why I can't. Why I can't because this is, you know what I mean. I got to do this for my child, and my child, you know what I mean, comes before you, or however, wherever the case may be. But like you said, it's just two different philosophies.
So I just know it's going to be very, very interesting because the conversations um, that I've had with the younger people has been very interesting. They don't date the way we used to date. They don't even look at things the way we used to look at it. I
And
like,
that's fine.
for example, when we were younger, a guy took pride in his girlfriend. Like, oh yeah, shorty rocking the door now because with our name in them, I copped those for my shorty to say nothing. Then you might see him and he got on jeans and a hoodie from the Gap. You know what I mean? It's no big deal, but his girl is back then was considered fly. You know what I mean? That was a thing. Like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing as a male, as a man. Look at my girl. I got her. Whereas
Compared to now,
nowadays,
it's a girl outside pumping the gas, and the
right.
dude leaning
And
back
he
on the
looking at
passenger
her
side
talking
looking at
about
his
some,
phone.
you gonna get me some Jordans. Can you get me a matching outfit? To and it's not there's nothing wrong with the woman buying things or doing things because of course, yeah, back then we bought our dude stuff. We went out, look, I came back from City Blues and I got you this, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. But why is it that these young men feel like, oh, I can't give her anything or I
Well,
can't do anything for her? Like, what?
well, you know what I mean. That's all that comes under chivalry and being a gentleman, and you know what I mean. All that's, you know what I mean, is is died where compared to now, or not even died, but maybe it's very very minimal. You have some young men who probably notice that, you know what I mean. Look at me. Don't look at me, but look how I take care of mine. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Whereas here, you know what I mean. But look at their music. Their music tells them to be about, you know what I mean, and they really, you know what I mean, don't look to a black woman or to any woman and respect it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And no country can stand tall if they don't respect this woman. You know what I mean? And they nowadays a lot of young men don't respect women. You know what I mean? They call them names. You know what I mean? They you know, terms, bros over. You know what I mean? You know the rest. You know, it's a different philosophy. But where did that come from? That came from uh, one is fatherless homes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Young men, and then that's that. And then the only example on the TV is, you know what I mean, some gangster dude smacking women or just, you know what I mean, being hard so he don't care about nothing, you know what I mean? No, you know, their own personal hygiene, you know what I mean? It's
Even
just,
women has changed too.
yeah, women have changed too. With women, you know, I don't need a man, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, yeah.
There, that thing right there. Oh, I got this. I don't need a man, and it is great to see more women out here doing their thing and holding it down and creating businesses and bossing up. I commend that. Here's the other side. We'll say I can do it. I don't need a man for anything. Blah 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 blah. And then as soon as they meet a man, they give him the keys to the kingdom. Everything. You can have my ATM card with the code. You can drive my car, drop me off. You got keys to the house, all kinds of crazy stuff. And I'm like, mm.
to somebody who ain't worth it,
Right, like
who lazy, sitting at home.
you were
watching.
just screaming, I can do it all by myself, and then now you meet someone who not even trying to match you or even be about what you're about. He's seeing an opportunity, and you will just, here you go, freely release for the sake of I'm in a relationship.
This day and age, it seems like everybody is confused on what the role that they should play because you got the women and stuff now at this age be like, oh, you're not supposed to do this and that third for the man if that ain't
Your
husband.
husband.
And the guy that you're dealing with is looking at you like, well, if you're not doing this, that, and third, I'm not gonna take you serious. So I'm gonna entertain her, her, and her.
Right.
And so where they both probably looking for the same thing, but they didn't got in their mind that, oh, I can't do this, and he's thinking, oh, I can't do this because she ain't doing that. Then that's why we ain't building no good relationship.
Yeah, roles. I think roles. My philosophy, I like roles. I think roles are important. You know what I mean? And I try to implement them in our marriage. You know what I mean? I like to. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you what, some of that personal business. Role playing? Oh,
No, not role playing. That's
Wrong show.
That's Milspo. That's Milspo at the dark. Milspo show. You know, I like. You know what I mean? Like I don't just leave it to my wife to take out trash. I make sure the trash is taken care. I like making sure that the bills are paid. I like making sure that when we go somewhere, you don't have to pay for us. You know what I mean? Now, if you want something and you want to pay for it, I ain't got nothing wrong. I ain't got no problem with that. Rather, I do it for you or I don't. But when it comes to the family unit or us, me and you, I like to make sure that I'm paying for the dinner. I'm paying for our fun. I'm paying for our movie night. I like doing that.
now, notice that he says he likes to do it, but he has no problem when I say, I got it.
No, I ain't got no problem with that. I ain't got no problem
Then
with
he
that.
wants to make an announcement, guys. He's like, my sugar mama. Y'all see this? Yeah, she got it. She got it. No. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. It's like the roles have been blurred or confusing. Maybe it's the information that we have given the younger generation. You know, there's a lot of telling these young, oh, act, don't play house, you know, if you're not the wife, right? And I agree with that to an extent, but you cannot begin to be in a relationship and think that I'm going to set these certain parameters or limits to what I will do for that person and then expect for it to grow as well. Like that's crazy.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can't say, "Oh yeah, this is my boo," and I think this is the person that I'm gonna be with. You know, this is my soulmate because young people have a lot of soulmates, right? And then all of a sudden it's like, "Oh no, I'm tired because I don't want to put in work. I don't want to do this." He keeps asking me to why never make him a sandwich. Why does he have a problem with taking me out? Well, he's probably trying to figure out if y'all can go to the next level. And he don't even know if you can make a sandwich. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
also too, in society, the society, a lot of people use that as truth or they use that as fact or
Right.
you know what I mean, whatever. So philosophy is shaped a lot by its environment. If you are out there in the world, uh, first of all, uh, all everything has a drive through. You know what I mean? Remember back in the days you had to sit and wait patiently for food to be prepared. Now it's drive throughs on everything, right? So everything is quick. Information. I need to get information real quick. Remember you had to go to the encyclopedia, sit down, read, research. Now is search bar, push of a button, and you know what I mean? So we have trained our paradigm to think that instantly, fast, now,
Right.
whereas back in our days growing up, you know what I mean, you had to really work to get results or as far as research and things like that. Where now is at the it's right at the push of an instant gratification, push of a button. You know what I mean? So we don't keep nothing. No, we don't keep nothing of value because everything's so fast.
You don't need it.
Right. So that's another way too Uh, that's what I love my grandson, but sometimes I wish I can take him, grab his arm, and we jump in the time machine and take him back when I was a young boy, and he would be grateful for what he has today because you know what I mean, because they will understand that. Oh wow.
First time they see a house phone with a cord on it, they gonna be like, "What is this?
What is it?" Pick it up. That's crazy. Right now, we can give our grandson a phone and be like, "Here, call your dad." How you want me to call my dad? I can't call my dad with this. I mean, just like
it's
this.
a rotary phone. One of them.
Just like for instance, I probably got 3 phone numbers that I know memorized. Whereas back in growing up, man, you had to know everybody's number. If not, it was a little phone book by the phone. You had to. My mom used to keep. I used to go to the letter E or letter. You know what I mean? To call somebody.
To me the other day, I forgot I had to get information from something. They actually emergency contact or whatever, and I always put my sister. So they're like, "Oh, what's the number?" So I said, and they like, "That's weird that you just know numbers by heart. Like that's what I'm used to doing." So it's like people that support it. Oh, I know they know.
Now, me on the other hand, that smartphone that made me slow me down.
Join us, baby. That all a whole bunch of us.
What's the number?
Smart. The phone is smart, and we not.
I know this has been his phone number for I don't know how long, but right now my brain has froze because I cannot think of the last 4 numbers. I don't know what's the problem, but yeah, we're gonna take a quick break and come right back with more of the Milspo show. I know we're all over the topic, but I'm excited about tomorrow night and these young people. You guys don't understand, but we'll be right back after this quick break. I almost ate some of these. I almost ate some of these. What's for dinner? You want the salmon cake?
That'd be perfect. We're gonna have. I ain't gotta put it on the sandwich though. Yeah, that's fine.
Why you want it?
You know, bread.
I agree. Yes.
I wasn't thinking about it. Now I can go for some fries, French fries sandwich maybe.
That's potato and bread.
I know. With a little cheese and ketchup and hot sauce. All right, babe. Next week I'm gonna get ready for our pictures.
What's that?
The pictures we're gonna take. Back to working out, back to eating right. Of course, we going home. You know, I like to get a little bit fit and healthy before I go home because I'm gonna get fat when I get there. Stromboli, cheese steak, pretzel, ooh, crabs.
I want to eat on my shirt. You want to eat all that?
What you say?
So you gonna eat all that? That vacation.
Yes, we do. We normally do.
No, I don't.
Usually order what we usually
Oh,
do.
it's on Friday?
We do cheesesteaks and
stromboli.
stromboli.
I ain't heard that.
We do that usually the first
Night, cheesesteak and the stromboli.
I don't care about the crabs. I mean, she forced me to eat sometimes.
Then I gotta get crabs and shrimp and
I eat that. I ain't gonna go to cheesesteak.
oh, and then I wouldn't mind getting my fish platter from Salt.
Yeah,
So we need to sit down and talk when we start planning because we need to rent something big, don't we?
I guess we never navigate. No more than 5 minutes.
Who coming? So you talk about me, you, Rudy,
Blake, and maybe them. But you know, Blake can have her way. Maybe or that.
That's April 8th.
10.
The 10th is a Friday.
Good Friday. We're in this Saturday.
2 songs.
See, I gotta talk to you too many times about that. I forgot to bring it back to the list too. The list, they didn't even listen to me.
Well, for the
I'm gonna
people,
take a picture and screenshot it. No, just in general, we just gotta make it towards the job. We want to cater to them too. We want to do it like how we did before for everybody. Okay?
yeah, I was thinking already about get a couple of million before we can get those things and set them outside. And just, and we can, I got pots in our storage, fill them up with grease if we gonna fry chicken, fried fish and chicken. Or we can, I'm gonna tell you, we need to do this the middle of Saturday of each month, like the 15th or whatever. Get a big cooker, pull it out, go Reefer Road, or we go Friday or Sunday. Sunday is better because then ain't nobody, as far as like out Fayetteville, patrolling like the Fayetteville people who try to stop food people, pop up a tent, stay out there.
I thought you didn't do that.
No, guess what? We can't.
Well, the foundation can do, I think, 1 or 2 a month.
Yeah. Now look, Daughter Be Perfect, right the corner from where Seal and them live at, that intersection, before we get to the Ferguson Road intersection, that light right there, they have like used to be a convenience
I know
store
you're
right
talking
there.
about right across from Dollar General.
Right, but right
You
across
said
from the
gas
same
station.
side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just a lot, yeah. They do, there's a person that do that in the summertime too. They set up and they sell, they have,
But they
sell
go
platters.
on Saturdays.
Oh,
It's Sunday.
I don't see them no more, I ain't over there no more.
Because on Sundays, people leaving church, they don't ever eat. You smoking that corn with barbecue and all that.
That's good.
The chop shop.
And then we can actually put it up like social media and do pop-ups. Like, so say like, we can pop up location will be if you here, and then it can be somewhere else, but just have it out here.
Let's do nothing but, well, we can do other stuff, but
We can
call it the chop shop.
we put it on, yeah. We all put up on social media. We're gonna be there that Sunday. Promote it like starting on Friday. Well, you know what's good too? Yeah, like pushing plates of just big old loaded big potatoes and stuff like that. People love that stuff, you know, on Friday.
And it's like, oh,
It's fast, yeah, something fast. People like that. So they want 15 or something. And with,
for real. It's probably like 4 or 5 bags in that case too. When we come back, we're gonna close out because we only have less than a half an hour, so we can talk about the next show, which will be. We're gonna try to have a couple more.
I mean, that's, wait, what's the next show? What's the date?
Right before Valentine's Day.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Welcome back to the Milspo show.
Yeah, look at them.
It's the 2nd and 4th. Yeah, welcome back to the Milspo.
Welcome back to the Milspo Show. It's your host, Big Ron G.
I want to say thank you to everybody who has been supporting the movement. We got a lot of things going on. We're going to have Jimmy Dennis and the Boss Gang coming down here on an interview pretty soon. What's that, March? They'll be here. And then our next show, official Milspo daytime show, is right before Valentine's Day. So that's kind of like a love show. I would love to have couples on, and maybe even some tips and ideas for romance for the holiday. Maybe people can share with us some of their plans, their ideas.
We're
'Cause
gonna talk about some longevity tips. We
Well,
need to start being in our
with
community.
us,
We need to
do
start
we?
being married, and we need to start being together longer periods.
Yeah,
Longer. You know what I mean? Because guess what? There is success in longevity.
I can touch your love because I was over here sneaking and eating the Doritos.
But you know, I just
Touch your love,
yeah, like mm. but you know, we've got to definitely bring on the couples that have been together for long periods of time.
Definitely.
Mark 5 and Sharon 6.
Sharon.
What I say, Sharon is Sharon. My bad, boss lady, but Sharon 6, because Mark 5.
Right.
He got to report to Sharon 6. So
Indeed.
yeah, they've been
Indeed.
together for a long time. Shout out to the Lee family.
DJ Manny Strong. I know he had said something the other day. He posted about sending up prayers for his family. So we're gonna send up prayers. But yeah, him and his wife doing big things. We're out here making it happen. Because
Thomas and Eunice. Thomas
First of
and
all-
Eunice Williams, they've been together for a long
Well,
time.
you know how I feel about my mother in love. Because I don't do the in law.
Yeah, that's true.
In love.
They've been together for a long time. Your brother, my and Celeste, they've been together for a long
Jamal
time.
and his wife as well.
Yeah, they've been together for a long
We
time.
know a lot of
We
couples
like,
that have been.
some couples that.
Yeah.
D-Wash and
Kamisha.
they've been
I'm
together
sure,
a long time.
and the Bakers.
Baker, Patrick and Renee Baker, they've been together for a long time. So see, we know all these longevity marriages because we've been together for a long time too.
Since last month. Yeah.
Last month.
It's still young and new.
I'm a
fresh
keeper.
and happening.
I'm a keeper.
You remember when you first get together, that newness in the relationship, like everything is cute. You can't wait to see him. Even if he passed gas, you're like, boy, you so crazy, stop. And now it's like, I know you didn't. Oh, you play too
my
much.
wife always complain when I fart in the bed. It's not cute, but as you know, it's the things that you do to keep things going. Just like, for instance, phone calls, baby. We still call each other. Right. Even though I know I'm gonna be here at the end of the night,
right?
We still call, hey, baby, what you doing? You know what I mean?
Right.
What's going on? Because guess what? I think it's important that you do that because I'm gonna talk from the man side. Man side of things, we get busy with business, providing, trying to make the next $100,000. So we get busy. Whereas, you should do things to set yourself for success, your marriage. You just can't ignore not talking to your wife all day, save it till you get home. I do it. I got a text reminder on my phone that comes up at 12 o'clock every day.
Which is very weird when you're sitting right next to him and you see the text pop up on his phone to remind him to text his wife.
He had PTSD.
But what it did was it made me pick up a habit because how you create habits through repetition.
Yes.
I got it every day. It sends it to me. I know to send a text, or if not, I'll call, babe. What you doing? You know what I'm saying? So what it does is set up in my subconscious or my paradigm, I like to call it, to where. But see, those little things like that. That's why we still together for years. You know what I mean? Not a lot of people might be like, oh, that's corny. But see, your mate ain't doing it at all. And then you want to get upset. Well, you ain't calling me all day. You ain't texting me all day.
It doesn't take anything away. Like I said, when I'm sitting next to you, I'm still feeling like, go ahead and send it because I want to see what it's going to say. Yeah. Whether you're with me or you're somewhere else, I have grown to appreciate the text.
Or even if you ain't got, technology is making things so simple. Yeah, the text or call. Even if it's say you're driving, you hit the mic button. Hey, babe, I love you driving. I just want to say, and it does all that typing for you, and you hit send. Right. You know what I mean? Or, you can go down, hit the image button, black love. Send an image, and you know what I mean? Because all that's, it just, But it starts with willingness.
Right.
It starts with
And
willingness
wanting to.
and wanting to. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Wanting to, and not forgetting. You know what I mean? Because some people they get busy and they say, well, I was busy, that's why I didn't do this. A lot of people think that's excuse, but that's not an excuse. You know what I mean? A lot of times a woman or your mate
talking about me.
Or your mate will say, you know what I mean?
Because I get busy and I forget and be like, oh, I'm sorry.
I mean,
I forgot. Forgive me. But I mean,
but like this, I think that's
Valentine's
important. But that's
coming.
important. You're right. That's why I'm talking about this. But I think if your mate asks for it, you should do it. But if your mate doesn't ask for it and you're not doing it, you know what I mean? It should be. Work on the things that you're asking for first compared to things that you're not asking for. Well, yeah, we got Valentine's Day coming up.
Yeah.
Let's spill this myth. How come men never get nothing on Valentine's Day?
What myth? Because that's not a myth that goes on in this house. You can get
right, but you know what I mean? I see men, you know what I mean, doing the old chocolates and hearts and flowers and everything.
Oh, don't bring any of that stuff here, because that's not what I want or what I desire.
So right. Well, what I'm saying is, where I wonder.
I think that day should be. It's supposed to be about love, but it has turned into something else. It's more commercial. Yeah, and it's about chocolates, balloons, beers, and cards. And a lot of women don't even enjoy that stuff for real, for real.
Well, I already got you some flowers already this year. Not saying that, but I try to not just do stuff like that only on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, and I don't require flowers, chocolate, cards, or teddy bears from you. You guys are a witness. Once again, I'm saying that now on Valentine's Day. Bring me the things that I like. I like candles. I like prosecco. Stuff like that. Bring me what I like, no matter what.
I mean, absolutely.
Just because it's Valentine's Day doesn't mean you got to come in with no
beer. You know what I mean? Stop getting the stuff from
come
the
in
dude
the
at
house
the end of
with
the intersection
some
with
blue
stuff beer.
crabs.
I love you pillows. You know what I mean? That's that.
Don't say that. I got people with that hustle.
Like come in the house with some blue crabs. Well, Philly girls love crabs. It's like nah.
Yeah. Philly girls love crabs. They love good food. That's because the city, man. The city is a culture. It's a food culture city. Our city is definitely a food culture city. Philly is a food culture city. You know what I mean? What are the things?
The bowling party?
I'm not sure.
It is.
I'm not sure. I'm not planning. But let's ask this: what name some of the things that you can expect from Philly people, or what they like? Like for me, I know people like to know where the bars are in Philly. You know what I mean, go to this bar. Go to this bar.
Good food. If
bar
you go
food,
to the right bar.
Yeah.
Normally people don't go
the fried
to
little kitchen chef.
The bar per se to just, I'm gonna go to the bar to have some drinks. No, 9 times out of 10 we go to a particular bar because that bar serves either good chicken or good seafood. Like I said, Philly girls love crab. So it's like, they got good crab legs or mussels or
what's some other examples of other Philly foods? Like I know when I'm not in Philly, because I don't think about it when I'm in Philly, but when I ain't in Philly, man, I love tasty cake.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Peanut butter candy cakes, not necessarily everything.
It used to be Hers chips, but
Hers chips.
So we're putting it out there. If anybody want to show some love to Ron and myself and our producer, my sissy, for Lovers Day, Valentine's Day, y'all can send us some Philly snacks down here. We take some Hers, some pretzels, some Mr. G's.
Pretzels. You mentioned the Philly pretzels.
Tasty cake.
Send us something, man. Send us something down south.
The Cardi B chips for 35 cents in the Poppy store.
Did y'all hear that? Who is near the Poppy store? Who's near the Poppy store in Philly? I need y'all to send me mucho Cardi B chips and mucho Mr. G's chips, please.
So check this out. So we know Poppy stores,
right?
Bars.
Because listen, the Poppy store you can live off of even if you don't have a lot. You can't do that down here. Say for instance, I can go to the Poppy store and give me an official sandwich, drink, and some chips for probably $3.50. Where can I get a meal like that down here in North Carolina? I'll
Go
wait.
with. Go with. But check this out. What about
And it won't be pork. Let me just put that in there. It won't be pork like
what about all the halal spots?
yeah.
The halal spots. Do we got halal spots in down here? I mean, Philly is, it's Philly
or
is.
two,
And then we got one halal restaurant. Well, I think we got two halal restaurants.
but one halal market, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. In Philly, pretty much anything I desire to eat, there is a turkey or beef substitute. You might as well say.
Matter of fact, in Philly, this is part I miss too about Philly is, say for instance, you live on this block, it, and we going back to the bar food. All you had to do was walk down the street, run into the bar real quick, you can take care of the whole family there. You know what I mean? $20 to $40. You going back up the street feeding the whole family.
Right.
Whereas down here, you either gotta go to a restaurant or you gotta go and get online, or because we don't trust the which thing. We don't trust Uber Eats and stuff like that.
And they don't have down here a place where there are a lot of places in Philly where you can go and get you an official chicken wing.
And just have fun. They don't have
right. Like they don't have that here. I would love to be able to bring something like that here, but I mean, I guess we can hope it's supposed to be a Dave and Buster.
Then the summertime, Philly summertime, you got Rita's.
What I
stop the Rita water.
Am I the only person that is a certain temperature? Like the weather hits a certain temperature and it almost requires for you to have a pretzel and water ice on that day.
Or some crab.
Right, or some crab. It's like the weather's pretty nice. Boy, I could go for a water ice and a pretzel. But we live here. So
but this is the thing, man, we're gonna buy us a family. We're gonna buy us a piece of property up there. So when we feeling so Philly, we can just go up, stay for a week or two.
Yeah, I bet.
I don't think we ever did.
I ain't saying go up there. Yeah, you know what I mean? We go up there for a week or two.
Maybe
not to go in the cold
all the time.
We ain't gonna go when it's cold. You know what I mean? We'd rather go when it's like nice weather. You know what I mean? Go up there.
And you can't go when it's
and
too hot.
we go up there, be Philly, and then for 5, 6, 7, 8 days, whatever, and then we come back.
When the last time you been there 7, 8 days?
It's been a long time.
Long time. You've been there 5 days.
But moms, fast, they get a little older. I gotta start going up there.
Watch your mouth. Eunice is getting better, she said.
Yeah, she getting better, all right.
Bless you. She's not getting older. She's getting better.
But you know what I mean? I'm getting older. So I'm gonna go up there. I'm gonna set us up for success where we can go up and we can be up there and we can be Philly for a week. Because we usually around about 3 or 4 days, we be looking at each other like, you ready to go? I'm ready to go. You ready to go? We're ready to go. Well, but we still love Philly though.
I miss the people and I miss the food. Like there are places that I see people, oh, you went to Philly? Where do you get your cheesesteak from? Yeah, and they might mention 2 places.
Geno's
we don't
even go there. They don't even hit our list.
And I'm thinking to myself, well, you definitely don't know anything about Philly if you're talking about these 2 places to buy steaks from, because most people originally from Philly don't even like to eat there. Yeah. We don't get our cheesesteaks from either of those places.
And what's the name too? A lot of people try to throw gems now right there on South Street. We don't even go there.
Right, like we go like down Signs Road, Max's. What's the name of the place on Spring Garden that we go to? City View. Different places like that.
But I ain't been to Pagano's in years either.
Right, like
these are the famous names that people throw up there. But a real Philly person, really, you know what I mean, black anyway.
And you can tell if somebody is really from Philly how they order their steak. If they're out of town and they go somewhere and they say, "Can I get a Philly cheesesteak?" and they say they want green peppers on their steak or cheese with, they are not from Philly.
Matter of fact, this is what we do when we out of the
What
city, when we
when
out
you
of
order a
town.
cheesesteak in
from
Philly,
here.
what do they say to you? Y'all know the song that they say to you when they ask you what you want on your cheesesteak. It's almost like salt, pepper, ketchup, mayonnaise. That's what they always ask. Do you want on your cheesesteak when you are from
Matter of
Philly?
fact, you ain't even gotta say fried onions because they know that automatically come on.
Right. They're gonna ask you, do you want salt, pepper, ketchup, mayonnaise?
Yeah. No
Like
mustard.
if you want something other than that, then
No
that's,
mushrooms.
you know, because that's
Yeah,
really
You
what you
got
get
to
on
tell
the
them the type
cheesesteak.
of cheese.
Yeah, you ain't got to. You know what I mean? Make sure it's white cheese. We don't do none
Right.
of that.
You don't have to say I need I want
American cheese.
right.
But shout out to all the hood spots in Philly that be making that good.
We
food.
are
Matter of
coming
fact,
soon.
babe, remember
Country
us?
cooking sod. I'm coming for my fish platter with my
I don't go to the spot. You know what I mean?
You
I
do
ain't
though,
see
but
it
you gotta
in
take
there.
me. And you
I mean,
eat
I
her
go, but
food.
I don't go in there and not eat her food. But I don't, you know what I mean? I go to 22nd Street for something else. Dave, send me them chops this way. Run these chops, you know what I mean? Because I would, I would do all my own magic on my stuff. Now I ain't shooting her down. She got some good food, you know what I mean? I mean, ever since I saw the video of her pouring a whole bag of sugar, I was like, whoa, you know what I'm saying?
Sugar?
Whatever she was.
I heard
pouring
people were
a
going
whole
crazy
bag,
over that.
They ain't go too crazy. The line still out the door there.
Listen,
I think people gotta understand the difference between your preparation of your food and how it actually tastes. When you see some stuff getting done and how we do it, you just be like, but the reality is, it'd be good stuff.
and you haven't eaten her candy yams and her mac and cheese because I get the same platter every time I go. Fried fish, mac and cheese, and candy yams. Every time. And you and I both is enough in that platter for both of us. We both eat that platter.
I rarely go outside your mac and cheese.
That's true.
Rarely.
So,
I mean,
so I don't know if you listening, but I'm
if
very funny about my mac and cheese.
If I see you eating it.
So it's a compliment if I'll eat your mac and cheese. I'm very, very picky about that. I don't like for people to give me mac and cheese that looks like it has abundance of cheese in it.
Or like they ain't making enough.
And then I stick my fork in it and I'm thinking, did you use nothing but mild cheddar throughout this whole mac and cheese dish? Because I don't taste anything.
In this household, we use a certain amount of cheeses. You know what I mean? Our cheese numbers go up high. We like
and you don't cook it on the stove, you put it in there.
Yeah.
Right.
We don't cook. Ain't no such thing as cooking mac and
People
cheese
do
on
that
the
now,
stove.
though.
You've been there.
They'll cook it on the stove, or they'll make a cheese sauce.
Yeah.
That's because that's how other people make mac and cheese.
Not
and
wrong.
That's not
That's
how
just,
you make it.
We ain't doing that in this camp.
So don't forget when you shout out the store and talk about the bowl.
Yeah. Speaking of it, I'm excited about the bowling party. It's April the 11th. The Sador is hosting a bowling party. If you have not got your tickets, get them. Boss, I need to contact you because we're getting tickets. I don't know if I'm gonna actually bowl because with these bad hands. But you know, I don't know.
I'm gonna be knocking down.
I'm bowling and I'm taking Manny Strong down.
Oh, Manny Strong.
Are we betting? I like to bet. Are we betting?
I ain't betting because I like to keep my money. I ain't gonna lie to you.
I'm betting on my husband. What
but
y'all got?
What I'm saying is I'm coming to knock some pins down.
I'm betting on my husband. Team Williams represent.
I'm gonna have a blast.
So what date is that bowling party?
It's Saturday, April the 11th.
Saturday, April 11th.
Tickets $30.
Yes, and if you're not bowling, it's $15.
There will be food.
Man, buy $30 tickets and support the movement. Stop
there
tripping all that money y'all
there.
got.
And your girl gonna be there. Y'all better holler at me because I'm gonna have some Milspo apparel with me when I come there.
We don't go
some fresh stuff. Shout out to Diva, on a part of the Sador family who is out of town. Cop that Milspo workout outfit, and I can't wait to see the pictures, sis. And thank you to everyone that has been tuning in and supporting the Milspo show.
Yeah, we appreciate and love you guys.
Don't forget, pretty soon, bam, the wall that is bare, there will be a banner. If you are interested in promoting your business on the Milspo banner, contact either Ron or myself, or contact the producer of the show, which is my sissy. Her name on Facebook, I believe, is Anika Lorraine. You can contact about.
Where did you get that from, man?
That's her middle name.
Okay.
Yeah,
Lorraine?
watch it.
A nigga
Both
raid?
of them.
He was about to
Yeah.
get chopped.
No, I ain't know.
Yeah.
Wow.
My
A
middle
nigga
name is
raid.
Nicola Ray.
Yeah, both of them.
So no, so
We all
you
got it.
got 4 names.
She do
4
too.
names, yeah.
Mhm.
I got 3.
What your daughter has for?
How did I get shorted one?
You
Let
had
me
to
see.
take that up with Eunice.
I gotta come up with a name.
Oh God.
Habaka or something. No, I don't.
You want something more ethnic?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No bad enough. I'm light skinned.
What's and Sador Radio. Please download the app. It's free, guys, to download. If you have the time, please go and do it right now. If you taking a quick break at work or you're just
The
listening,
music is back.
share on the your page. The music is all day music. If a talk show is not on, we have Brown Girls, Tea Talk, the Diva Show, Be Mindful, I believe Talk with Carolyn, Brotherly Love with Dot. There's so many shows on the Sador Radio app besides
We got what you
Milspo.
need.
You'll find whatever you're looking for. If you missed the beginning part of this show, please go on YouTube and watch, share, view it, people. Some very vital information to purchasing a home. And tomorrow we are doing Milspo After Dark at 9 p.m. We are going to have the young millennials on talking about dating and life. I think that's going to be like a 2-parter because I believe it's going to get deep with the dating and the sex and the everything.
A 2-part.
Yeah. I don't know how your daughter's gonna fare too well with talking about grown up stuff in front of you. She pretty cool with me. I don't know about in front of her daddy, but you know.
I'm gonna be there.
They probably too far to look at you.
And I'm
Yeah.
gonna be looking at her like that. What you say, girl? You better not. You're an angel.
Right. Yeah, I often think about how you were so concerned about her first experiences in college, you know. I was like,
I still remember when my baby had them stuffed animals. Remember, I fixed a little corner net with all the stuffed animals that she used to love.
that's like 20-something years ago, but all right.
20. Some things I can remember. Some things I can remember.
Now,
Go
something I
back
told
from
him
that, and
yesterday,
some told
he
him
does
off.
not remember.
Well, short-term loss is one of mine.
It doesn't matter. I love you anyway.
Many ailments.
To the dirt,
Being a
baby.
veteran.
To the dirt.
To the dirt. To
But
the
we want to
long
thank you guys for tuning in to the Milspo Show. I am Celia.
I'm Big Ron G.
And thank you, Sissy, again for producing and holding it down. We'll be back tomorrow with Milspo After Dark. We got the millennials dating, sex, love, all that good Gucci stuff that they going through. And then the next one for February will be the love show in February, right before Valentine's Day. Thank y'all. Come back. Ooh, and I got Doritos.
I was about to say, y'all normally kiss